Hey, it's Tim Young in the building. Won't you tell me how you're feeling? Listen, I'm so excited to be here right now, inviting you to Pop Gospel Speaks Radio, our online radio station. I want to take the time to tell you a little bit about us, provide you with our mission and our values, okay? PGS Radio is a listener-supported platform created to inspire worldwide audiences to abide in, connect, and share the gospel. As a diverse community of speakers and artists, we are committed to delivering authentic content that cultivates growth in relationships, purpose, and the Word of God. Our values: PGS Radio values service in providing opportunities for messengers of Christ to have access to larger audiences. It is our aim to present thought-provoking perspectives, real-life experiences, wisdom, and knowledge through music and conversation. If you are interested and want to be a part of us, please contact info@popgospelspeaks.com. That's info@popgospelspeaks.com. And please tune in right now, today. You'll hear something amazing. popgospelspeaks.com. I'm Tim Young, and I'm so happy and excited to see you there.
Hey, come take a walk with me, not like you used to do. Do something different and put yourself in other people's shoes. Open up your mind and open up your eyes and change your direction, change your perspective.
Welcome into Other People's Shoes. It is, of course, the month of madness, some would say. So if you want to mark your calendar now, we are in officially the month of madness. And, oh, by the way, stay tuned till next week. There may be something exciting happening around here. I can't tell you too much about it, but there could be something exciting. By the way, feel free to follow us, like us, and subscribe to us on, of course, your favorite podcast platform of choice. Or, like us, tweet us, do all that Instagram stuff that you like to do too as well. Other People's Shoes is the place to go. And, of course, welcome in my guest, hailing from the Windy City all the way out there. He blew in like the wind, but it's a very comforting, some would even say maybe a warm wind. But he is, of course, the creator, and I'm super excited to talk to creators because I myself, being a creator, it's always fun to talk to other creators. So he, of course, is a husband. He's a father. He is a dad to a wonderful 5-year-old. And, of course, a brand new baby. Oh, aren't babies sweet? I'm sure he's not getting a lot of sleep these days because he's up all night. But help me welcome in my guest from, as I said, the great state and city of Chicago, Illinois. Help me welcome in my guest, Tim Young. Tim, how are you today?
Man, I am blessed by the best. I'm excited to be here. And, just excited to have some great conversation, man.
I'm excited about that phrase, by the way. You said it to me at the opening when we first got on here today, and I was like, man, blessed by the best. So help me break that down. What does that mean to you when you say that phrase, blessed by the best? What does that mean for you?
Well, reality is there's some, I believe there is a place in the Bible where it speaks about how the devil can, take care of his. So, every good thing is not always a God thing. So I prefer to get all great things and all good things from the best blesser of blessings, and that would definitely be God. So I'm definitely blessed by the best, man. That's pretty much it.
I like it. No, I like it a lot. By the way, guys, in case you're wondering, Tim is also a singer-songwriter. So maybe if we play our cards just right, maybe he'll even sing for us. We don't know. Who knows what could happen? But Tim, before we go too far down the road, I always like to ask this question because it is, I think it's the most important question of all time. I know you've probably been interviewed by a number of people through the years, right? In the music industry, a few times, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So nobody has probably ever asked you this in an interview. In fact, I guarantee probably no one has ever asked you this in an interview. And that's this question. Tim, what size shoes do you wear?
I wear a 10 and a half. Yeah.
And is there a certain style or brand that you like maybe more than another?
I'm definitely a gym shoe guy. COVID in my church has kind of changed the way I wear dress shoes. I got a wide foot, so I'm not a fan of the dress shoe per se. But yeah, I'm definitely into gym shoes. Slides. Nike slides. Easy shoes. Sometimes I don't need shoes at all. So, I'm just being honest. But
no, I like it.
Definitely.
Like being from Chicago, I would think you'd probably have to have some Jordans somewhere. Did you ever? Did you ever own any? I don't know.
I did. I didn't get into the craze like everyone else did. But I definitely had me a couple pair of Jordans. And then I kind of woke up like, it's a little too much. So I'm like, no, yeah, I'm good. Like you got to find a cap, it's like you have to start asking yourself, like, where's your value with money, because this guy's making a killing and I am losing so much with just having this one pair of shoes that I've spent almost $200 on. So, mad respect to the creator in him.
Are you trying to tell me that I need a cap? Are you trying to tell me like I need to get away from my shoe obsession? Is that your polite way of trying to be my brother from another mother that says, hey, you got to have a cap, my friend?
I'm going to tell you like this. I'll keep it real with you. I love shoes. I've gotten into shoes more now than ever, but my value, my hunger and my thirst to spend that money, is not there yet because there's just other things that I prioritize a little bit higher. So, if you got it, do it. But if like right now, like I could take like $150 and spend that 3 different ways and flip it. I'm into investing now. So it's like, I want to invest a little bit. So I'm not ready to give Michael and Nike 200 of anything right now. Just keep it real.
That's awesome. My wife will probably want to put that on repeat and say, you probably need to go back and listen to your friend Tim and ask yourself the question, are you listening to Tim or are you listening to someone else? So that's fantastic stuff there. So I got to be honest too. We sent out this questionnaire and I'm always amazed what comes back. But something came back to us that really caught my attention. And I want to kind of lead off with this question, and that's this question: what comes to mind when you hear this quote? And really, it's just so unreal to me that this quote even came about. But here's the quote. You didn't say this actually; somebody else said this. But here's the quote. It says, "Not everyone can be famous, but everyone can be great, because greatness is determined by service. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love." What comes to mind when you hear that?
First of all, it warms my heart. And almost got me emotional, man, because it speaks so highly of what I'm after and what I search for in my everything. I've learned over the years that it's really not about being on the biggest of the stages and having the largest accomplishments and accolades. It's all about, one, being your best self and serving to the best of your abilities, where you stand when it comes to your day-to-day, your 9 to 5, I have struggled so heavily in wanting to walk away, and I'm tired of doing this. I want to do music. I want to do this. I want to do that. But God just kind of has been shaking me up within this last year and just kind of making me understand, like, this is still service. Like, my wife had some great conversation with me recently, and she's like, man, your job is awesome. The fact that you're doing this, you might not be able to give them a scripture or anything like that, but the service, it's there. So yeah, man, that it speaks volumes to, that right now kind of service and that right now kind of greatness. We kind of, this will be my last thing. I'm not long-winded, but I talk a lot. This will be my last thing about this take, that phrase or quote, should I say. I don't know if anybody is like me out there, you or any of your listeners, but I tend to find myself thinking so far ahead, right? And I get caught up in the future. and my past is, I get caught up in the future, hindered by my past and cheating my present. So I can't be my best self because the past is in front of me now, and the future is so far ahead of me to the point where I can't even reach it. So I just really it makes so much. Your service is so in the now, because that's the only time you can serve. You can't serve in the future because you're here now. Serve right now. I have a song and it says, there's no power in the future. There's no power in the past. There's power in this moment. And I'm having a blast, I'll shut up.
Yo, good, man. No, I love that. And by the way, this might just blow your mind even more, but Martin Luther King Jr. actually said that quote. And to me, anything MLK says, I don't know about you, man. It is brilliant stuff. Like, I haven't found anything he said that I'm like, I don't know. That's not very good. But when I came across that quote that he said that, I was just like, and especially since I know, you and I, we're part of that. We've probably struggled on some level with wanting to be famous, wanting to be somebody so important, wanting that to be the driving force that wakes us up and lays us down every morning. But what you're saying is you're so contrary to that idea of trying to be famous. And how did you get to that point of getting rid of that desire to wanting to be famous? How did you get rid of that?
I'll say this. I am a work in progress, and you tend to find, or society and people tend to say, older people are set in their ways, but that's just a lie. Because I'm 32 years old and I'm set in my ways, right? So there's some things that I have to get rid of on my selfless plug, on my little podcast that I have. I'm in a series called Renew What I Knew. Okay. So the reality is I was brought up in church. That's fine. I did this, I did that, but there's still some things that need to be renewed in me so that I can be all that God has called me to be, right? And I am choosing to be all that He's called me to be, because sometimes that in itself is a challenge, right? Because we know God is a big God, right? We know He has the capacity to do so much, and He is doing so much, but I'm just one person. So to even say that statement, I want to be all God has called me to be, that's it's almost like suicide if you don't have the right mindset, right? So like I said, I've been at this thing for a minute. Music was my start. I would hope to end there as well. But music has always been the focal point. And I started, my first song was in 2010, my first official song. It was called By Faith. It has went through 3 transitions, and every time it has been a struggle. But with every transition, I've had to strip pieces of me. When I first got into this path of music, I wanted to have the riches, have the fame, have the awards. I wanted all that stuff. But God slowly but surely just started breaking me down, just breaking me down. So now, up until 45 minutes ago, I was done with music. Like, I was done with being an artist. I was just going to focus on being a songwriter. Yeah. I went to school for singing. I'm classically trained. I can sing in a couple different languages. Then I went to Columbia downtown Chicago and did the vocal music performance and all that stuff. And so I have what it takes, right? But I just didn't. I was in it for the wrong reasons, and I want to continue to work that into my life, to make sure my place is my headspace is correct, so that I don't get ahead of myself, get ahead of God, and get full of myself. And I'm not trying to be the biggest radio station or the biggest artist or the biggest anything out there. So it's just a work. It's just a work, man. Yeah. it's just the work, man. And it takes the you have to be willing to take the back seat. I got a phrase. And the funny part about this, I don't know if I'm stepping on the toes of the questions that you gave me, but there was a phrase where you was like, what's your favorite quote or something like that? And I couldn't think of anything at the moment, but I thought about a song that I wrote, and it was actually a breakup song I was transitioning. Well, transitioning sounds kind of bad when it comes to like relationships.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So help me out with that. So instead of a breakup, it's a transition.
Yeah, I was like, that's weird. That's a weird statement. But
I hope the girl you're transitioning with doesn't hear this.
Right. But I was broken up with my with my ex, and I was prepared. No, it was a transition because I was single at the time, right? I was single at the time, and the ex was still kind of trying to, come back. Like, no, I'm good. I'm straight. I don't want this anymore. I found somebody else. So I was at like a concert, one of my high school concerts, and my girlfriend, now wife of almost 10 years, was with me, and my ex kind of showed up. And she came out of nowhere. She was like, what happened to us? This your new girl? I was like, my heart's so big. I kind of like, And then my girlfriend, she took me and she made me make a decision. Like, if you gonna be with me, you gonna be with me. If you're not, you're gonna go back. But we can't do both. And I didn't want to do both. It was not my intent. But it's like she saw where my heart was based upon my emotions. Like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I desire not to hurt anyone. But at that point, I was in a creative state, and I wrote a song, and it started with, you got to love yourself enough to grow, love me enough to let me go, right? But what I sent you was, you got to love yourself enough to grow, love you enough to let you go, because you have to deny yourself, in this walk. And if you really want to be a great serviceman or servicewoman, you have to kind of walk away from some of your ways, if you will, and follow God. Yeah.
No, I love that, and I was going to get to that quote. So you did steal a little bit of my thunder, but it is your quote. So in fairness,
my bad.
So you're good. So just to repeat what he said, because it's so profound to me too. This quote is so good, and to know that it came from a song lyric is even more exciting. But it says, you got to love yourself enough to grow, and love you, being you, me, or the person that's speaking. You got to love you enough to let you go. And I think that's so amazing and profound. And being someone that's so much older than you at the amazing age at almost 41 years old, I just want to tell you that is profound. And I don't say that lightly, but I just think to have that mindset to say, no, I gotta basically die to myself, get rid of all of the self that wants to be glorified, and get rid of that and move forward, to me is just profound. So I just wanted to share that with you. So on that same level, I'm just curious about this question, because if I were to bump into you, downtown Chicago, maybe we're outside of Wrigley Field, or maybe we're on the, the north side. I think it's still called Kaminsky Park, or maybe it's US Cellular Park where the White Sox play now. But if I were to run into you in Chicago, we just bump into each other. Now, obviously, I mean, you're probably not going to recognize me too much. I mean, you might, because of all the Carolina stuff I'm wearing. It might seem out of place, especially in Chicago. But I'm just wondering, like, what do you think the first thing I would notice about you would be?
That's a good question. I instantly thought about if we were out and about, I might have on some headphones. But I think you would see something in my eyes, because I am always thinking, right? My mind is always moving very quickly, and I'm always, I'm always working. I'm always working, and not necessarily devising a plan, but I'm always especially if I'm walking about, I'm definitely in deep thought. You would see that guy is thinking about something right now. Whatever it is, you would see, you would probably tell. You could probably see it. And that's about it.
Where does that come from, though, Tim? Where does that idea in those thought process of just being deep in thought, thinking about the next step or the next thing? Where do you think all that stems from and comes from?
I think it stems from the visions. I'm realizing that the visions that God has given me are not visions that I could have come up with. Yeah. So I'm never sitting here talking to you stating that, I'm just the hardest worker, because I'm not. I'm never saying that I have everything together, because I don't. But I'm always trying to work on Tim and try to get Tim together, try to get some. And honestly, sometimes you could see me and I might be thinking about the wrong stuff, just to be honest with you, just the fact that I'm just a thinker. Like I'm big on process, I'm big on process. Like I don't settle, I don't settle in certain places. Like if you tell me something, I want to know why, and I just don't want a solid, simple answer. It's crazy because I didn't like math, coming up, but I'm such a problem solver. I tell my son all the time, we don't give up, we just don't. I'm sorry. Like I don't, like I'm going to give you, I want to, embrace you and, give you some love. But at the same time, man, listen, you got to figure this out. You can't just come to me and say this is not working and you haven't worked that brain. He's 5, but he's a brilliant 5, and no credit to me, but he's a brilliant 5. And I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be better than me. But at the same time, I just really want, I think that's a strong trait of mine, it's just ultimately yeah, man. I think it's the co-creator, the creator within me as well, because, yeah, I'm always, I want innovation. I want to be innovative. I'm not looking to be a follower. My desire is to leave a mark, right? Not just a mark saying Tim this, Tim that, but I want my life to serve as a monument to something greater than myself, which is God, honestly. And I love what this radio station has done for the relationships that have developed, because, man, where we're heading, and I'm pretty sure where we are, is game changing, and there's no credit to me. And that's one thing that I just have to continue to say, like, God has had his hand all up in this one. And yeah, man, I'm gonna be in thought. I'm probably never not gonna be in thought. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
I love that. I love the idea of always thinking, and I love the idea of always kind of trying to innovate and create. And, I'm guilty with my with my hand up on that one too, because I'm always thinking of, like, who's the next guest, where are we going to go next season, who's the next person I need to talk to. And I have friends now that know about the show and have said, hey, have you talked to so-and-so? I think they'd be a good guest. And, it's so great, obviously when that happens, and I love that. And so I love the idea of always, kind of creating and just always resonating and just percolating. I'm trying to think of other adjectives, but I guess some superlatives. That's a fun word to say. So there we go. But I want to talk about the radio station, and that was a great segue on your part. See how we did that? That was a nice segue. So I'm excited because this last summer, I'm actually camping around the 4th of July time period. And I'm camping, and I had a guest on previously, and his name was Tyler D. Smith, and Tyler wrote this book called The Search for Seven, or Searching for Seven, I think it is. And anyway, Tyler was a great guest. He's from the Indiana area. Actually was a beat writer for the Indiana Pacers, so I was really excited to sit with him to not only hear his story, but just kind of how he got in and created this Searching for Seven book, right? And so somehow along the way, I get connected with this guy named Timothy Young, or Tim Young, that we're talking to today. I don't even know how those doors open, but somebody sent me an email saying, hey, if you're interested in being on this radio station, you should reach out to this guy. And I was like, okay, sure. My thought process, just so everyone knows a little bit behind the curtain, if you want my show, I will give it to you. I will put it wherever you want it. I will send it to India. I will send it to Greenland. I don't know if there's people in Iceland, but I would send it there. I would send it wherever. Australia, I'll go there too. It doesn't matter. And so, we jumped on this opportunity. And so with that, I'm not a big gospel guy. Just full disclosure, I'm a white guy. I'm from Southern Oregon. I grew up listening to, ABC, Little Belle Biv DeVoe, Little New Edition, right? Boyz II Men was pretty awesome, right? That's where I get my R&B. And I know none of that's gospel, but I really fell in love with Kirk Franklin. He's gospel. I know that for a fact. And I got to be honest, I couldn't name another probably gospel singer outside of Kirk Franklin. But here's the thing, and here's the beauty of life, is Tim and I have actually never spoken face-to-face like we're doing a Zoom right now, so it's kind of fun. We've talked on the phone a few times. We've traded a ton of emails. But when I started to think about my new series, the series that we're in right now, is of how you see me, Tim, I got to be honest, you came to the forefront of my mind because I thought, here's a guy, and I know some people are going to be like, where are you going, Neil? Stay with me. We're almost there. But here's the thing, like, I'm traveling down this road, and I'm just thinking about our life and our world and all of these, places that we've connected with people over this last year. And I remember Tim in the back of my mind, like, he's back there. I'm like, oh, I got to reach out to Tim, Pop Gospel. I want to find out more about their story. I want to find out more about Tim's story. And then I started to think about it. Tim has walked through life differently than I have. Now, full disclosure, because you can't see Tim, we'll have a picture, but Tim's an African-American man. He's got kids. He's got all this other stuff. You have things that you've walked through that I've never experienced in my life. And I know people are like, wow, he's playing the race card game now. No, I'm not, but I'm just trying to illustrate that we walk through different lives and different paths of life. And for me, I'm fascinated. I'm always fascinated by, and I always have been, I've always been fascinated by people who are of color or people who are of different races than I am. Because again, their life, their experience has been way different than mine. Some would even say, because I'm white, I have privilege. Okay, maybe I do. I don't know. But my point with all of that rant to say, here we are now at this intersection. And I want to lead all of that, hopefully behind for just a second, to ask Tim this question. Tim mentioned his 5-year-old son. The new baby, too, by the way. We're excited still about that. But Tim, here's my question. With all of that I just laid the table for you for, now that we're at this amazing table together, so what do you want your son to see in you, and how do you feel like you can walk that out for him?
Oh, man, that was a big one.
I know that was really long just to get to a 2-second question, but there it is.
You said some great things, though, and I would love to, if we have time to talk about a little bit of that.
So jump in on any of that. The water is warm. Yeah. The table is ready for you. Whatever you want to pick apart.
That was good. It was so good. I was getting nervous. I was praying, like, give me the words, because this is good. But that's a great question, especially as a man, especially as a little boy that will be a man one day. It was so crazy that this came up, but I'm just being honest with you. For me personally, the way I came up, right? I didn't live in the hood, the ghetto, or anything like that. I was on the cusp of, a gang-infested neighborhoods and all that, but I didn't have that life. I'm not going to call any life rougher than anybody else's, all right? I just didn't have that life. But, you know, hey, challenges were what they were. For me, I want my son to see the love of God when he sees his dad. I want him to want to portray the love of God through his actions, like dad is doing and dad is working to do. I want Isaiah to see that daddy is working it out. Okay, he's trying to, he's making an effort. He's having conversation. He's considerate of me and of my thoughts, and he's not just basically bossing me around, just giving me orders and yelling or hitting or anything of that nature. But he wants a relationship with me. I want Isaiah to see that daddy wants a relationship with him. You know, I want him to see that daddy loves God. He loves his mom. He loves his mom. He loves him and his baby sibling, you know, and he loves everybody else. Yeah. We all possess different character traits and all these different highs and lows, and the spirit of me is who Tim is, right? The spirit of Isaiah is who Isaiah is. So I don't want to hinder Isaiah's spirit I don't want him to be a carbon copy of me. I want him to see the values that I hold, and from there build upon what God has already given him, you know? That was a great question, man. I thank God for this opportunity, because God just really, he gave me that. I had no plan, but that's real.
Well, I often wear my hat, which says "real" right on it. Of course, it's
does.
NF, so you know. But I'm serious about this. Like for me, I didn't grow up with my dad being there all the time. I mean, the joy of the Marine Corps. That was just kind of the end result of it. Like family is like put to the background. The duty of serving our country is at the forefront, to defending, you know, our Constitution, to defending, you know, both enemies, both foreign and domestic. That's part of the oath that they take as a Marine, right? And so, you know, with all that, I'm just curious about this idea of when he sees you, when Isaiah sees you and he sees you thinking and he sees you processing things and he sees you making music and he sees all of this that he sees you doing. I mean, we can't know for sure, because I mean he is 5. But my question is if we could somehow jump to the future, what do you hope that he remembers most about you?
He never gave up. He followed his heart. He followed his dreams and his vision, and he saw them through. You mentioned, you know, the presence of a father in your life, and my dad did a lot of working. You know, our relationship, you know, is what it is, but you know, he did a lot of working. I cling to, and he's still here right now, so I cling to my mom more than I cling to my dad. And you know, now I realize there was some areas in there, and this is so key. There's some areas where I realized I needed my dad, but there are still areas where I need my dad. You know what I'm saying? So I never want to sit, once again, I don't want to harp on the past and allow that to create grudges or bitterness, but I'm in the now and I still got them, you know? So why not cultivate that relationship? Because if the Holy Spirit has given you that revelation to allow you to realize that's what you need, cultivate it. So yes, I want my son to know Daddy did not give up, and Daddy loves him some Isaiah. You know, he loves him some Isaiah, and he supports him. But yeah, man, I drill, and the crazy part about it is my son knows that now, even at 5, right? We don't give up. You know, I'm sorry, we don't. If I was a drill sergeant, that's one thing I would drill into my cadets. We don't give up. You know, and we ask for help. You know, Daddy did not hesitate to ask for help, and that's a process, and that's something that I'm learning to do even more now, because I'm very self-sufficient. almost to a degree where it's not healthy. So I'm breaking that. That's a process. I'm a work in progress, and I need to continue to kill that noise because I can't do this by myself. I can't raise a kid by myself. You know, I can't live this journey by myself. I wasn't meant to do it. It wasn't meant for me to do it by myself. Yep. So yeah, pretty much.
That's why I gave you your wife, right? This is your moment. I was going to give you your moment to kind of tell about your wife and how amazing she is on this journey with you. And then we can talk pop gospel if we're good with that.
Oh man. Well, that's a great, the segue was smooth because she's about to get all the kudos right here. Because if it wasn't for her, Pop Gospel Speaks, the radio would have never been a thing. I'm telling you. Destiny, Marie Young, my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful angel. Oh my goodness. Married for 9 years, September 17th. This year will be 10. She's an amazing, amazing woman. Very skilled in graphic design and website building, and just, wives tend to push, they tend to push you in ways that you don't really have within yourself, and I don't know if you're a husband like me, but sometimes I'm a little stubborn.
No, never,
and if
never
I
been
would've
stubborn
just,
in a day of my life. Nope. Don't idea what you're talking about.
It's crazy. It's crazy because I kind of just started being stubborn. It just kind of happened. It wasn't always like that. But
I'm going to challenge that. I think you've always been stubborn. If you're as creative as I think you are, I think you've always been stubborn. She probably just helped you point that out.
Oh yeah. I was just joking. I'm very stubborn. We butt heads. And the crazy part about it is we're both babies of our families. Okay. So it's always that there's a compromise that has to happen quite often in that space. But and it's that's been a journey within itself because, to raise a firstborn, we've never done that because we've only been babies, right? So that's been a challenge, but yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, so pop gospel. So help me with that. So you talk about Destiny being kind of the we'll say the brain trust behind it in some respects, but how does pop gospel come about? Like, what makes you wake up one day and go, you know what? I'm going to start an internet radio station and it's going to be amazing and everyone's going to tune in and listen to it. Like, how does that transition to the beginning to where we are now?
All right, let's get it. So, like I said, everything starts with music, right? Told you about By Faith. That was in 2010. We're at 2021. And back in 2010, the song was written. I was trying to find my brand, my sound, my genre, if you will. And I didn't fit in gospel. I didn't fit in Christian. I didn't fit in Christian contemporary or whatever other genres they had for the Christian faith music industry. I just didn't fit. So I didn't want I didn't want anything that would classify me and put me in a box. So the first thing I came up with, honestly, was life music. That was just me, nobody else, me and God. He gave me life music. And then, I don't know if you know him, but he's I would say like gospel / Christian contemporary artist, Jonathan McReynolds. He came out. We went to the same school, but we really didn't know each other. But he came out and his brand was life music. Well, I was like, well, I guess that ain't it. So I had to find what was my thing. And you brought up Kirk Franklin, right? Kirk Franklin and Michael Jackson were my two inspirations for pop gospel, because pop gospel, well, for one, Kirk Franklin was a radical when it comes to the music he came out with, because he went against traditional sounds, right? He was very secular in styles, right? Michael Jackson, they had to create a genre for him because he didn't fit. He just did what he felt, right? So Michael Jackson was getting spins on country, R&B, rock, all of that. He was everywhere, right? So with that being the case, they had to create pop which is popular music for, pop is short for popular music. And gospel, going back to the origins of gospel, is just the word of God, right? So I kind of got tired of all of these labels because, once again, let's have a real talk conversation. Gospel music is predominantly Black. Okay, Christian music is predominantly white.
I was going to ask about that, but I was like,
just,
how do I bring that up? But I've noticed that as well, that most gospel music has a very much a Black element to it. And when I think of Christian music, there's not a ton of Black artists I think of that jump to the forefront of my mind. I honestly, here we go, stereotype, right? I think of a white guy and maybe a grunge band, and they're all white. I'm just saying. So yeah, continue.
Legit. So for me, I didn't enjoy that. I didn't enjoy that fact that the world set up. So I didn't want to follow that guideline. So like I said, I went to St. Xavier University in like Orland Park, Illinois, where I got my classical training, and I experienced German, Italian, French, singing in those languages. Then I went to Columbia where I did the R&B, rock, jazz, pop, all of that stuff. And I was like, I want to do it all. I don't want to put myself in this bubble, right? So I was doing Uber one day, and somebody asked me, "Hey, what is this?" I said, "This is pop gospel." And then what came after, I don't know if I had anybody in the car, but I know I had the time to type it out. So I was probably like sitting. And what came to me was stylistically unrestricted music with a vertical source and a horizontal reach. You get the cross, right? And that's what it was. That's what it became. And fast forward about 6 years later, we're pushing like 2019, 2018. God just kind of kept throwing in my face that, one, the gospel radio station or the gospel music is limited to a weekend in my neck of the woods, versus Christian being one, they have their own station and they're 24/7, right? So once again, I'm not mad at anything. I just see an issue, right? Because a person like me, I want it all in one place. I'm just being real. I want it all in one place, and I don't feel like we need to be separated. For what? So I got a little.
That's okay.
I got a little. You saw that? I got a little heated.
But in all honesty, Tim, here's the thing, though. That's what I love so much, and I know, we're probably talking, so to speak, like a competitive brand, so to speak. But that's what I love so much about Sirius Radio, right? Sirius XM Radio.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just going to be honest. I love the fact that it's commercial free. I love the fact that if I'm feeling like, hey, whatever, some gospel, I can throw some on. If I want to feel like, 80s from Michael's era, I can throw that on. I can jump wherever I want to jump because my musical taste is so vast. It's probably the size of the Grand Canyon. Because literally 1 minute I might be listening to some, some Frankie. The next minute I might be listening to some Toby Mac, some DC Talk, The next minute I might jump over and go really old school, like I said, and throw on some Belle Biv DeVoe, which I know probably people are like, what? Belle Biv DeVoe? Google it, kids. Good stuff. But that's my point, and I love what you're saying on that. And I think if I could ever get a station that has it all in one place, I probably would be the most loyal person on the planet.
Well, guess what, my friend? You found it. So that's pretty much where we started going. So I just started having conversations, and I don't know if my wife brought it up or me, but I was
she brought it up. That makes a more cooler story. She brought it up.
She brought it up. I was like, man, you realize this, that, and the other? She was like, man, you should do a radio station. I'm like, you know what? That's a good idea, but I just didn't know how. Right? I didn't know when. In my mind was like FM, AM. And for one, I didn't want AM because AM is bad quality. I wanted FM. But that was as far as my mind went. I just let it sit, and I just kept on taking in the good music, gospel, Christian, don't care, taking in the good content. Where I am, Moody Bible Institute has a radio station, and they're 24/7, predominantly white, but it's great. It's great content. You know, God is colorless, so I bring it on, right? So I loved it, but once again, I wanted something a little different. Like for me, and I'm gonna just be real, I'm not big on like traditional gospel, man. I'm not a choir fan. I'm not. I'm really not. You know, the Lecrae's, the Christian rap, yeah, but not always. You know, CCM, oh yeah, but not always. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I just wanted a place where they all could be, and I don't necessarily want them like all together. I want people to say, you know what? They love God just like me. Because my big thing is this. As a singer-songwriter, I want to attack the way you listen to music. Okay? I personally believe, I heard this a few years ago, music touches your emotions without your permission. Okay? So if music has the power to do that, the reality is if you're feeling some type of way, if you put on the right song, you don't feel that way anymore, or it's amplified based upon what the emotion is, right? But you have to be conscious of the content. You follow me? So if I'm listening to a heartbreak song and I'm sitting in that, why would I want to continue to sit in that? Because that can cause more damage than just being by my, you know. So I want to challenge people to listen to the sonic, the sonic sounds and all of that, and the feelings that you get through the music and the melody. But at the same time, I want you to make sure you're paying attention to the lyrics. Don't just be what came to my mind is don't just be a music mummy, because you can turn off the actual part. You can turn off your ears to where it matters the most. And that honestly is the content, you know? So we're here now, okay? Pop Gospel Speaks. It literally started, we kicked it off in March of last year. Yeah. We started the process. I put a post up on one of my pages on Facebook, and I was on online radio station airing my music. And somebody was like, do you have your own radio station? And I was like, man, Destiny, look, they asked me if I had a radio station. And she was like, well, see, if you would have listened to me, you would have. And I was like, all right, bet. We just go get it done. Let's get this going. Let's make it happen. So at that point, we started the process. Like I said, first of all, she's a dancer. She has her own dance company, Ground Rhythm Dance Project, selfless plug, amazing content. But she's also a graphic designer, and she's a website builder, and she got that thing, and she's amazing with words. Oh my gosh, she's a wordsmith out of this world. So we were able to get that vision, get the graphic for the logos. We were able to get that website built, all of that stuff. She worked that thing because once again, she already has her own business. So, you know, I got it. It's cake for me. So I just needed a vision. So God finally gave me one, and bam, I have my resource. I have my team right.
Would you say you gave you the destiny to do this?
Oh, play on words. I see what you did there. And I I had to write a song about finding my destiny.
Well, I was just going to ask, there better be a song about somehow finding the destiny. I'm just saying. So maybe we can hear that just in a second. So I love that, man. I love that so much, Tim. Hearing the story about how, Pop Gospel got its start. I love those kind of stories. So, guys, if you're interested, Tim, how can people go and hear it right now if they were going to hear that?
Listen, go to popgospelspeaks.com. All right. If you sit there for like a good 5 seconds, a pop-up is going to say, listen now. Hit that button. It'll take you right to our streaming website. You'll see our schedule, and you can tune in. I guarantee you it's going to be some amazing content on there. We are now we're everywhere. We're national. we're global, but we have segment holders from North Carolina. We have segment holders not all parts of the United States, but we're definitely from the United States, parts of Africa, Australia, the UK, and some more I can't think right now. But we're everywhere.
There's a guy in Oregon that's pretty
goal,
good. I heard he has a pretty good show.
You know, there is a guy in Oregon that's pretty good. He's got a great podcast. It's called Other People's Shoes.
Thanks. But guys, I'm serious too.
Yeah.
So if you didn't get all that, we actually, because of our partnership with Tim, we have actually created a special page right on our website, opspodcast.com. You'll see it. There's a banner there that says Pop Gospel. You click on that. There's actually a player on the page. So nothing against going to Pop Gospel. You can go there too, but we actually have a player right on our page, and you can kind of get a little sample of that, listen to the whole programming there. But Tim, as we start to wrap up today, I got to ask you this question. Now, I know you're kind of a music guy, and you don't strike me ton as a sports guy, so you can, of course, correct me if I'm wrong here. But I do know you have this little field. It's kind of small in your neck of the woods called Soldier Field, which I think the Bears try their very best to play football there. I don't know how successful they are at playing football there, but they do their very best to play football there. But by the way, if they were to sell out, which I think would be a miracle of God for them to sell out a football game, but if they were to sell out their stadium, do you know that they can actually seat 61,500 people in capacity at Soldier Field? Did you know that?
I did not know that.
So here's
crazy.
my question. Imagine just for a second, you're at the 50-yard line. So that's the middle of the field for you non-sports fans. That's the middle of the field. You got 61,500 people there. They're at capacity. What on earth would you say to those people at the 50-yard line? This is your moment. You can say whatever you want.
Oh my God. What would I say? That's crazy. What would I say? That you got me there. Let me ponder over this for a quick second. What would I say to 61,000 people?
Yeah, so you got 61,500 people there. Now they're all from all walks of life, right? We don't know why they're there,
Right.
but you have this moment. Now I'll tell you this: you can sing to them, you can speak to them,
Okay.
whichever you prefer. I'm gonna let you do you in this moment. So I'm the organizer. Somehow I got to be the organizer, which I don't know how, but I got to be the organizer, and I picked you to come and speak or sing to them. Which one would you do, and what would you say or sing?
I would definitely sing to him. Oh man, there's so many songs that come into my mind, but I think one of the songs that come to my mind right now is my song entitled Now.
Could you give us a sample, or are you not prepared to do that?
Could I give you a sample? You know, I'm always supposed to be ready to sing.
Well, that's
right?
what I thought. In season and out of season, right?
Yeah, I'm always supposed to be ready. So I think I can be ready. It's kind of got the upbeat 4 on the floor. You know what I'm saying? It gives you that feel. I wish I could play it, but I'll just sing it.
Yeah, give us a little acapella.
So it goes like this.
Can we do that?
Yeah, man, we're about to do it, man. Let's do it. Here we go. Everything going wrong around you, and everything you touch just seems to lead you to stress. And all you ever see is what you could be. And all you want to do is what you could do. That's what we got to do. Get up, it's time to make moves. That's right, we switching the groove. Been thinking too far ahead. It's time to get it now. Get up, it's time to make moves. That's right, we switching the groove. Been thinking too far ahead. It's time to take it one day at a time. Tomorrow's not promised. Today is mine. Hey, there's no power in the future, no power in the past. There's power in this moment, and I'm having a blast. Yeah.
That was fantastic, man. Especially on the spot. Like, he didn't know he was going to do that. Like, we didn't talk about it ahead of time. Like, okay, here's when you're going to sing. But you know what I love most about hearing those lyrics is it's the now.
Yeah.
It's the right
That's
now.
it, man.
And I think
That's
right
it.
now, no matter where we are as a country, it's this idea of right now. It's this idea that we have to do something right now. That it's not about the past anymore. It's not about the future. It's about the right now.
That gets me so
Absolutely. I love that.
That gets me every time. It's like to really it's like do you really understand that there's no power in the future nor the past? Right? Our life should not be based upon our past nor our future. It should be based upon right now. How can I be my best right now? How can I enjoy life right now? I'll say this and I'll leave it. God has given me the songs that I write are so challenging to my own personal walk. And as a songwriter, you have to make sure that you're at least moving, or working towards the direction that the music is calling you to. All my songs present a call to action, right? I want you to be challenged with what happens in the content. And now that's been the crazy part about it is when I wrote the song, I wasn't even ready for the lyrics, and I'm still working. I'm still working to live in the now, man, because the mind runs so heavy. And even if you're not a thinker like me, your mind is running so fast. And you're thinking about what you did yesterday. You're thinking about what didn't happen yesterday. You're thinking about what could happen tomorrow or what's not happening because you're not where you want to be tomorrow. The Bible says don't worry about tomorrow. Let tomorrow worry about itself. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, that's it. I'll leave it alone.
I got it, man. That is so awesome. Good stuff. So, guys, if you're interested in not only learning more about pop gospel now and what Tim's doing and what Tim and his team are a part of, guys, we have linked all of that in our show notes. And Tim, I just want to say, man, thanks so much for coming on. But before you leave, we got to play this amazing game. So I hope you're ready for a game. I know you're a gamer. I've heard that at least. Are you truly a gamer?
Yeah, man. I put in work. I put in work.
What's your favorite game to game? Like
right.
I don't even game anymore. Like I have an Xbox. What is it? 360? Is that a thing? Is that still a thing?
Yeah, that's like 4 generations ago. But it's
okay.
all
What's
good.
the newest one? Like the white one? What's that one?
It's now it's like I think it's the Xbox Series.
Is it the one?
X or S?
Okay.
The Xbox One is what I have now, but they just dropped.
Okay, so that's what I have now too. Okay, so that's what I have now too. I don't have like PS5 or any of that nonsense, but I got an Xbox One. So are you like playing Madden? What are you playing?
Well, I'm big on NBA 2K, big on the Call of Duties, and I actually just got back into Tekken. And like I said, I call myself a gamer, but I'm not in that deep, right? But if you can ask my wife, you play too much games. But for me, it's just I try to make it a little break time.
Hey, we all get our downtime, right?
Yeah, just a little bit, but
no judgment.
It shouldn't go into the next day. You know,
should never go into the next day. That's true. All right. So here's our game senseless. So I just got to show you this because, being a big Tar Heel fan that I am, I got to show you the cup that the die is in. By the way, there is a die in here. See if I can show you that. So there's a die. So there's proof that there really is a die. So I'm going to roll this because you're still in Illinois and I'm still in Oregon. So there we go. Here we go. And this is just a great way to end the show. So see, you got, what number is that? Just so we can verify that.
3.
Okay, 3. See, I'm not cheating. By the way, I've been accused multiple times of cheating at my own game. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but anyway. So here we go. This is kind of a dad question, I feel like. So maybe, or this could get romantic. I'm not sure how this is gonna go. We'll just see. So, greatest thing you have ever smelled?
I think you kind of segued me into the romantic thing, but there's a perfume man, listen, I don't know what it is. I still don't know the name of it, but there's a perfume that I experienced and I was like, Oh my God. I felt it in my like chest and in my like the core, the pit of me, my stomach. It just kind of, I felt like I was just being pulled to the smell. It was crazy. Still don't know what that is. Still don't know what that is.
You might want to find out. I've never had somebody articulate perfumes smelling like that.
And it's crazy because it's like it had like a very soft. I don't like those strong perfumes and stuff like that, but yeah, man. I don't even think I want to find it because it's just that it was that intoxicating. So, but like I would have said food, but you know yeah. So me and food have an interesting relationship.
So this is a perfume you smelled on Destiny, just to be clear.
This was years ago. No, it was not. You saw the pause. It was not. It was like in high school. Like it was a while ago. But yeah, you know, she knows.
All
you know,
right.
it's not like
a secret.
Yeah, you know, it's not like I'm, whatever.
We got you. But no, I mean, I hear you on that, right? So this is gonna a little telling on myself here. I wear Aspen cologne. And the only reason why I wear Aspen cologne is because my sister dated a guy that she was dating in high school. He was older than I was. And in dating him, I smelled it on him. And I thought, and this is going to sound a little weird, especially dude to dude, right? But I was like, man, I want to smell like that. I don't know why, but I wanted to smell like that. So I went out on Amazon years ago, bought myself a bottle sitting behind me, still got it to this day, spray a little bit every now and then. My wife smells it and she's like, oh, it's like we're in high school all over again, except you didn't like douse yourself in it.
It's awesome, man. First of all, there's nothing wrong with wanting to smell like that guy, as long as that guy doesn't smell like gym socks.
Yeah, no, I could tell stories about cologne. But anyway, all right. So, guys, I just want to close our show out with just, Tim, I want to thank you one more time. And I know you said a lot today, just as far as like being in the now, you know, leaving that legacy. I think all those things are important, man. And I just want to say thank you not only so much for having our show on each and every week, but just being so willing to come on, talk about what you've done, talk about, you know, how God's using you in an amazing way. And man, I just want to say thank you. I just can't say thank you enough for giving me some moments.
Yeah. I appreciate it, man. I thank you for the opportunity to allow your platform to be another platform that we can continue to spread the gospel on, man. I never knew about the Christian podcast community until I would say like a little over a year ago. And just finding all of you all was just very heartwarming and refreshing to know that we're working, you know?
Yeah, for sure, man. I just want to, again, say thank you guys so much for listening. But before we go, I just want to help you out with something. Think about where you are right now. Don't think about next week, which I know is really easy to jump ahead. Don't think about what happened last week or even last month. I know this sounds even crazier. Don't even think about last year. I know we all don't want to think about last year at all in any way. I want you to think about the right now. Who in your right now needs your voice in their life? Maybe it's a voice of encouragement. Maybe it's a song that's in your heart. Maybe it's a hug. Maybe it's a high five. Maybe it's just a cup of coffee and you listen to them at a table where they just get to pour their heart out for a minute. Think about that person right now. Take just a few moments to do that. You got that person? Because I want you to do me a favor. Go out and reach out to them this week. In fact, if you do that, will you let me know that you did that? Will you just let me know, whether that be through our connections page or through our voicemail, or even send me a message on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter? Just tweet us. Let us know that you did that. We want to help you get out there and be in the right now. Because who knows, your right now with that somebody could dramatically change their life forever. And I think Tim would echo that as well. Guys, just remember that and challenge you. I want to challenge you on that and do that this next week. Just remember this. Remember, when you walk in other people's shoes, you really do get a different perspective on life. Thank you so much for listening, and stay tuned till next week when we walk in other people's shoes. Thank you again so much for listening this last week. Of course, I am your host, Neil Matthews. Want to thank you again for listening. Want to thank Tim one more time for coming on Pop Gospel Now. If you're interested in hearing a little bit of what's going on there, You, of course, can jump over to opspodcast.com. As I mentioned, there's a banner. Can't miss it. It says Pop Gospel Now. Click on that. There's a little player. You can actually get a little sample of what the radio station sounds like and some of the amazing uplifting music that are available there at Pop Gospel Now. So, speaking of next week, well, I wasn't really speaking of next week, but usually this is where I tease next week's episode. In fact, a little fun fact for you. March 10th will not appear as a Wednesday until 2027. Let that sink in for just a second. In fact, next week is so special, I don't even have a preview for you because it's so exciting and I cannot wait to share it with you. I didn't want to ruin the surprise. So, I'm just going to segue slowly into this. If you would love to connect with me as I would love to connect with you, please reach out to the show. Easy way to do it. Two of the easiest ways to do it. You can do it through our connections page. Right there at the top of the page, it says connections. Click on that. Leave me a little message in there. Love to hear from you. Second way you can connect with the show, of course, is through a voicemail. That's right. You can actually leave a voicemail straight from opspodcast.com. There's a little banner that says voicemail. Click on that. Record me a little message. And in fact, if I use your voicemail, which is a pretty good chance I will, if I use it in the show, I want to send you a free gift as a way to say thank you for contributing to the show. Stay tuned till next week. I don't know if you know it or not, but next week is March 10th. Let's mark our calendars now. Put a big circle around it, maybe a heart. I don't know. There could be a reason why. Maybe you'll have to stay tuned to find out what's so big about March 10th next week. Remember, when you walk in other people's shoes, you really do get a different perspective on life. Thank you again for listening, and stay tuned till next week when we walk in other people's shoes.